and said we're honored that Ancor is here today. We at Direct Edge believe that robust cooperation with the brokerage community at large, both individually and through trade organizations such as Ancor, are going to be essential to ensuring that competition is brought to this market in a way that benefits as many people as possible. I would start with acknowledging that the notion of incremental costs versus benefits is one that is important, but I also do want to put it into context, right? Whether it's in Australia or Canada or any other jurisdiction, I would challenge anyone to find a broker to say that they went out of business because of the introduction of exchange competition to their market. It is a process that needs to be managed, but I think from the negative perspective, it's never a franchise-defining event. I do think, however, it can be a franchise-defining event for small and medium-sized brokers from the positive side, because in my view, what the introduction of exchange competition will bring is an opportunity for all brokers, but I think potentially a disproportionate opportunity for smaller and mid-sized brokers to use the assets that they possess, which may not always be financial. Right? The larger brokers typically have more monetary and capital and a broader provision of services from which to leverage in their execution business. And in the current state, effectively, execution services from brokers can be quite a commodity, which makes it very hard, right, for smaller and medium-sized brokers to compete with better capitalized or more diversified enterprises. Right? What the introduction of exchange competition does is it liberates brokers in that regard and allows them not just to rely on their monetary capital, but their intellectual capital to decide and deliver products and services to customers that can help them navigate that new marketplace in a way that's more efficient, more effective, more diverse. And so it presents, I think, a great opportunity for those brokers to evolve and to reinvent themselves, subject to their ambition and ability to do so. Right? That being said, in terms of managing the costs, I would say two things. One, facilitate the ability of exchanges to help. Right? Smart order routing would be a good example of that, where brokers could altogether, and this is something that was very successful in Direct Edge's early existence, where the routing functionality we offered reduced the need for broker connectivity of exchanges to all of the competing market centers. That could be offered commercially. That could be mandated by the regulator pursuant to best execution guidance given to exchanges, which doesn't really exist in Australia, which is why I think that's important. An exchange-to-exchange routing functionality at this point doesn't really exist in Australia. So that's an example. And I think Australia is unique because they, on a very accelerated basis, without a lot of forethought, advanced a regulatory cost-sharing agenda that I believe should have been the subject of more debate, and this informs our whole comments of to start this to say we're going to facilitate this process market wide, and it's not a decision about whether competition can or can't come, whether we should or shouldn't have a monopoly, right? That's the laws already permit that, but it's to say we recognize that competition presents potentially these issues that we should try to get right. We should try to get right and try to get out in advance of getting them right. So to make clear statements to the market that we plan to do this, whether competition comes in 12 months or 18 months or another timetable, we're going to address these issues now, and market participants, whether individually or through their trade associations, participate in those processes early and robustly to make sure that there are equitable arrangements that serve the needs of a diversity of business models and sizes of brokers and other market participants, large and small, so all of their needs can be met. I think those are challenges and ones worthy of consideration early, but I think they are eminently achievable with early dialogue and a consultative process. Thank you.
I agree with the comments that Bill had pretty much in their entirety, and want to add on a few more things. One of the words that was put out there today was the notion of choice. Today there is no choice. the BM&FBOVESPA is the sole provider for trading, for clearing, for settlement, for depository, for data center, for data, for everything. And the opportunity for competition to come in and look at the business model of the BM&FBOVESPA and say, yes, they're subsidizing maybe some of their processes, but they're sure making a whole lot of money at the end of the day. And maybe that subsidization is because other areas are a lot more expensive because the audience is captive. And when you have a captive audience, you price monitor for as much as you can charge, not really based on what the rest of the world is. So competition allows for choice. Like we've mentioned, we believe that the best option is to provide choice at multiple layers of the trading chain, at the trading, at the clearing, at the settlement, at the depository. This brings up another issue of data center services. New entrants can come in, provide a new data center, charge less, and as Bill mentioned, you may decide to use that data center, use a smart order router, whether it's from one entrant or another, have lower costs, and be able to access all the other markets. Your cost just went down. If you're a business and you have a lot of assets that are sitting at a depository today that are charging you a lot of money, now you have choice. Maybe the new depository that comes in charges you nothing for the assets that are actually sitting there. That's a pretty big gain on costs. So I think the point is choice, and really the only thing that's going to play this out is somebody coming in and actually providing that competition and showing you that there's a choice. From the initiative that we're a part of, that's led by Claritas and Friatas, we have our business plan. We know what the costs are that we can provide based on the international experience that we've have, and we believe that we can make them much, much lower. So wherever you're at in the value chain, wherever your costs reside within the place that you're basically captive to the fees, it gives you choice. But this is only going to be played out by competition over time.
Bom dia. Em primeiro lugar, eu gostaria de parabenizar a CVM pela iniciativa, não só do estudo, como dessa reunião, e agradecer o convite e a presença da Abrasca. Eu atuo na Abrasca, que é a Associação Brasileira das Companhias Abertas. É uma associação a que as companhias emissoras podem participar, elas podem participar voluntariamente. Nós temos 200 associados, com aproximadamente 85% do valor de mercado das companhias listadas no Brasil. E, obviamente, o meu ângulo é o ângulo de interesse do emissor. Então, o que eu gostaria de perguntar aos senhores é como os senhores veem a interveniência desses centros de liquidez no processo de listagem, já que hoje o centro de liquidez, a Bovespa, tem uma decisiva participação no processo de listagem no Brasil. Então, como os senhores veem a participação dos novos centros de liquidez no processo de listagem principalmente das novas companhias abertas e da transposição da negociação das já existentes? Né?